All right. Gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Warrior Week, Parables from the Pit. With me, Coach Kevin Voisin. Today, sitting here on a very interesting topic. We're going to talk about warrior woman.
Warrior woman.
Okay, we're going to come back with you and describe what do we mean by this. But I can guarantee you there's going to be some very, very important insights inside of this conversation that you may want to have a pen and paper this time. Not just like listening to the podcast, but like stopping your car and pulling out some pen and paper and writing some shit down. I know I will. So, gentlemen, sit down, relax, and enjoy this episode of Warrior Week Parables from the Pit. All right, so Warrior Woman. For more than 5 years right now, Warrior has been serving over 1,000 men. The message has always been delivered to men. There's been a quantity of women wanting to participate in the program, in the patterns and behaviors and the outcomes of what we teach here, what we call the Warrior's Way. And up to very recently, the answer was basically no, right? We didn't sugarcoat it. We didn't say anything. We said we're a man's only program. And so we said no. Right here about a couple of months ago, we decided to throw a big event here down in California. And it was decided that it was time for a warrior woman. Garrett and the team sat down, and there was this calling to do an event called Warrior Woman. Kevin, at that time, you were part of the Warrior Week journey with me, along with the Kingdom Challenge, and just helping thousands of men throughout that process. And you felt a calling that none of us actually fucking felt, but behind the scene, you felt the calling. So why don't you just tell us about that as we talk about the history of Warrior Woman and what is it today, and then we're going to get into the juicy stuff.
Sure. Yeah. The first time that I felt the calling was actually coming here for Certified Trainer, Warrior Week 39 Certified Trainer Edition. I was here. I roomed with Garrett J. We came to this event, and his wife sent a video. I'll never forget this. She sent the video cursing us out, that you motherfuckers are here, and you're learning everything about how to get your life on point, get yourself on fire, and go produce. And you leave me at home with the kids to fucking figure it out by myself. So fuck you, fuck Garrett, fuck all of you. Like, you need to figure this out. And now I had actually forgot about that. Even at the Warrior Woman event, she called me after and she's like, "Do you remember this video?" I'm like, "Shit, I do. This is almost a year ago."
Yeah.
And it wasn't that I did anything about it, but the power of that, like feeling her pain of like, hey, how come my husband has this in my own fucking house, but I can't access this power and I don't understand how to make it work for me?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, fuck, you have the black book. You have Garrett. Let's learn it from him.
Yes.
So fast forward until earlier this year, about 4 months ago, we had a CT graduation, and we had a wife come to the CT graduation who didn't really belong. Like, her husband wasn't graduating. We invite family to a graduation, obviously. But she just came in, and I confronted her. I actually said, I was with Coach Jesse. I was in a coffee shop. And I said, I'm going to confront her and her husband. Like, she didn't belong there. This was a men's event. And she didn't belong there. Yeah. The second I said that, they walked in as a couple. Jesse patted me on the back and says, "Have fun." So we sat down and I said, "Listen, like, this isn't okay. Like, this event is a men's event. And as much as I understand you want to learn it, that's not how this works. We don't sneak in the back door." Yeah. And her response was, "Well, then where can I learn this?" Yeah. So tell me how to figure it. You tell me, okay, I don't belong here, but where do I belong? Because I want this.
Yeah, yeah.
And what started as a confrontation of me saying, "Hey, get the fuck out of here," I was floored. I was like, shit, what am I really protecting? I'm protecting the warrior movement.
Yes.
But wait a second. It would work for her.
Mm-hmm.
And she doesn't have an opportunity to have this experience. My wife had been expressing some interest. So I literally sent a text message. I have a video to 5 wives, like it was people, wives, guys who are committed to Warrior, and said, hey, if you want to know, I can give you the experience. I've been the head coach of Kingdom. I've run Warrior Weeks. Mm-hmm. I'll teach you what this really means.
Mm-hmm.
And all 5 of them opted in. And we ran a 90-day challenge. And what I realized, that I didn't see before, was that I knew this before. I say it all the time, but I never thought of it in context of women. Warriors in experience.
Sure.
Your husband can't. Your husband can't tell you what it is. Just like our wives couldn't tell us what it was.
Sure.
Because it's an experience. It's something you go through as an individual that you can't really explain. But when you go through that fire, when you go through that experience, then you get the growth.
Sure.
And I watched these women get the growth, get the growth, get the growth. And what I discovered through this process, and I've since told Garrett, is he thought that he invented Warrior as a way to produce elite men.
Yes. But
what he really found was the way to be an elite human being, and it just happened that he was a man and he marketed it to men.
Of course.
And it of course it works the same. It's been we had all these conversations when we started having this event. Well, how do you need to change it for women?
Yeah.
Right. And you and I, we went back for hours.
Yes.
We could do this. We could do that. And the more I looked at it, the more it's no, you don't need to change shit.
Yeah.
Because guess who sets my core 4? Me.
Mm-hmm.
And guess who does my stack? Me.
Yes.
And guess who decides what the tempo of my whole life is going to be? Me. So if Warrior is actually just a container,
mm-hmm.
then let me tell you, women are doing the stack different. Women are doing core 4 different, but not any more different than if you looked at 100 men, there would be 100 different ways to do core 4 and 100 different style of stack. That's what we're seeing. And
so inside of that was born the Warrior Woman movement, supported by majority the wives of the guys that came into Warrior, and so many other women on the outside that were watching the growth message and wanted to participate in this. And so today, a Warrior Woman is an entity by itself, having over 275 women involved under your stewardship and the stewardship of 7 female coaches. And inside of that, obviously, a woman are being coached by women. That's it's been supervised to make sure that the patterns and the structure and the systems are in place from a Warrior's perspective. That's your primary role there, to make sure that everything is, it's not just some random woman program, but this is the Warriors Way program, which is the container that you talked about, right? And so the message here at Warrior has always been, take care of your family, take care of your wife, take care of your kids, and that becomes priority number 1 in everything that we do here. But it's not the only thing, right? So we have the core 4. We put importance of how important it is for a man to produce for his family. Despite a man wanting to be the perfect dad and a perfect husband and a great dad and okay husband and an okay dad, despite all those scenarios, production affects the bottom line of family. Connection with God and what you're teaching to your kids about spirituality, or if you're delegating that to some other organization, all that affects the interaction and the relationship between the family. Physical activity, how you weaponize your body and how you teach that inside of your family. So although everything has its own place, but it all comes down to one thing, family, right? And so that container that you refer to is truly a container that serves the family. Heck, even like kids or teenagers, to some extent, there are ways to communicate this message for kids and teenagers and millennials to use the blueprint. So, what are you seeing in terms of, inside of this movement right now, Warrior Women,
Sure.
as you're leading that? What are you seeing from the women that could be useful for our audience here? Because our audience is a bunch of dudes.
Sure.
Let's just be realistic.
Sure.
I'm maybe time to time as a woman is sneaking in listening to this, but the majority is dudes listening, right? So on one side they're like, okay, bro, this is all cool, but what the fuck you got for us today?
Yeah.
They're like, hey
sure.
man, this is great. My wife could benefit from this. There's a side of them that's cool, but I know that there is a side that wants to know, what the fuck you got for us, Kevin, from the other world?
So the first thing that we're seeing is an increase in sex across the board. It's interesting to see.
Oh, go ahead and repeat that again with
we're seeing an increase in sex across the board. And the reason is, as a woman feels more powerful and free, she's going to feel more sexual. It's just going to be just like we do. Just like
okay, this is the part where you're taking a pen and paper and you're writing some shit down. These are called insights from the other world. All right, so hit us hard, man.
Yeah, so number one, that. Number two, massive collisions inside of families, because what we're finding with women is they tend to just not say what they want, and we're teaching them to say what they want. That creates a collision. That creates, if you want to call it a fight, if you want to call it conflict. But what's cool is...
Hey, hold on, let me bring a course correction to that. Okay, so repeat that again. You said women are not saying what they want.
They tend not to say what they want.
Okay, but they are saying something.
They're saying lots of shit. They're saying lots of shit.
So what you're saying is that for the first time ever, for the first time ever, there is a clear distinction between fucking nagging and what they want. Yes or no?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
And we hit
that is like E equals MC2. That's the kind of fucking pivoting point and scientific foundation we're talking about. A clear distinguish between nagging, because you and I both that they can talk. There's no problem with talking. But are they truly saying what they want, or they're sending the Morse code for us to decode to figure out what the fuck they want, a.k.a. nagging?
Like, for example, with my wife, she used to ask me, do you want to take out the trash? Like, fuck no, I don't want to take. Of course I don't want to. Who the fuck wants to take out the trash? No. And she's shifted now to saying, will you take out the trash for me? Okay, yeah, like that I want to do. It'll help you. Cool, I'll take out the trash.
It's less confusing to us.
Well, right.
Because there's more of an instruction, and it's an instruction. It's a request. It makes us feel like, okay, if I do this, I'm the hero.
Right, exactly.
So, like, it's the hero's journey.
Exactly. Instead of, do you want to take out the trash? Fuck no, I don't want to take out the trash.
It's confusing. Do you want to take out the trash?
And their method of communication for most men is kind of confusing. Here's the biggest benefit that I'm seeing inside of marriages. There are collisions. Like, a lot of collisions are happening because for the first time you have a partner saying what they want in clear terms. But the biggest benefit, and like my wife is in this group, she's one of the trainers inside, is you speak the same language.
So hold on a second. Are you saying, or like this is, we are Wednesday, September 19 is 11/19.
Yeah.
Are you saying that you figured this out? You figured this shit out that you are filtering nagging? Like nagging is. Are you saying that you have a system?
I don't want to shift the whole time-space continuum, but if they're doing the work,
yes,
then that'll naturally happen.
Because
it's
beautiful.
Just say what you actually want. Don't tell them do this because you want them to do that. Tell them you want them to do that.
Because that's what it is in your heart.
Yeah, they're afraid you'll say no. They're afraid they're not worth it. Like what we see with men is Core 4 gives you like this formula. Hey, do these things and you're addressing everything in your life. What I've found with women is actually most of them are hitting most of these things every day already, but they give themselves no credit.
I see.
And so by scoring the Core 4, it's forcing them to give themselves credit. It's reinstalling worthiness to say what I actually want.
You know that is true, because if you just look at motherhood, right? If you just look at, dude, like carrying a life inside of you for 9 months, protecting it emotionally and physically, and a relationship that we have no fucking idea, like we have no fucking clue about that relationship for 9 months, physically and emotionally.
Yep.
Like, dude, think about if you had some shit inside of like your tummy, right? Like like you ate, I don't know, man, like piece of plastic, right? I'm not comparing baby with a piece of plastic. I'm just saying, like, you just eat a piece of plastic. It's a round ball, and it's a plastic, and you know it's not going to get digested, so it's in your fucking stomach. And you have this connection with that. Like, okay, what is going on? Like, constant, like, what the fuck? But think about it. I just want to give you an example. Think about it like on the woman's side, they have a living organism inside of them. They have a living person. And think about, like, fuck, I can only imagine when you're dreaming, what's going on? Like, is the baby also dreaming? Is it part of the dream? Like, biology and psychology merges together, bro.
It's all fused. Like, that's the thing. Like, I've always said that men are natural step parents because the process to be a step parent is the same as a parent for a man. Yeah. Like at one point we meet them,
yes.
and we choose to bond, and then there's a bond that forms or doesn't based on the relationship.
Yes.
Where when a baby's born, that's what happens to us. We meet the baby for the first time. Where mom has had a relationship.
So true.
She's just meeting someone she already knows everything about. Every breath, every heartbeat.
Well said.
So it's
said.
Definitely a different process.
And when you think about it, it's kind of fucked up because at the end of it, at the end of all this, we come from a woman.
Exactly.
But we tend to forget as men, and women tend to not give themselves credit for this adventure.
Exactly. And that is the key. One of the biggest benefits, it's painful. Like, I don't want to lie to you. Like, the men, like the husbands through this process, over the 90 days, about every 3 weeks, I would check in.
Yes.
And I would ask them, like, what are you seeing? Man, massive growth, but this is not comfortable.
Sure.
Like, imagine your wife is beating you at core 4. Imagine a lot of men use warrior to hide.
Yes.
Because, like, well, I'm doing my warrior shit. But their wife has no idea what that really is. So there's a lot of space to hide and a lot of space to confuse what the fuck that means.
Yes.
And I'm getting a lot of messages from women like, hey, wait a second. This is warrior? Well, what the fuck is my husband doing?
Yes.
Like, okay, well, I don't know, but this is warrior.
Yes.
Right? So when you live in a house where both people are doing it, it gets very fun. Like, you want to talk about, like, I'm stacking every day. My wife is stacking every day. If we get in a fight, it's fun because, like, we both stack the fight. Like, so, like, the night before. And now we're getting to the point where we'll share the stacks with each other.
I specifically remember one of the fights that you had with your wife. I think she shared that with me, and you acted like a fucking toddler. Oh, yeah. And she said, go fucking stack that shit. Yes. And the topic should be, I am a fucking toddler.
See,
it's a good one.
I came in hungry. I was doing intermittent fasting.
Yeah.
And I had decided, well, if I wait to eat till noon and that's working, I should wait to eat till 3, which was a really bad idea. So I came home literally screaming, I'm fucking hungry at the top. I'm fucking hungry! I'm fucking hungry! She's like, what in the fuck is wrong with you? I'm like, I'm just hungry. I got to find something to eat. And then in the process, she said, well, dinner's in the kitchen. Somehow I ate her dinner, not mine. Yeah, okay. So this created all this chaos. And in the midst of this, she looked at me and said, I was having a really fucking good day before you got home, and you're not going to kill this. So you leave, you go stack, you do whatever the fuck you have to do, but this house, me and your kids are going to continue having a good day while you sort out this chaos.
Yes.
That is power I've never seen in my life.
Well, that's a great example because, that's one form of chaos. But you think about the multi-million-dollar deal that is in the process of getting signed after you worked your ass off for like a year. And after, you think about all these critical situations at work. You think about all these stress about, finances, about, some people, their bodies, about your kids, man. Like, you think about all this chaos that comes with a man at home. And that forces him to go to panic. Because that's kind of what you did. Is like you from
on purpose.
You were already in chaos. I
wanted everybody there with me.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm fucking crazy. Everyone's coming with me to crazy town.
Correct. And that happens often. I'm not saying it happens every day, but if you're a man and you're listening to this, I know, I'm resonating with this. It's like periodically this shit happens when we push our chaos to panic, and as a result of that, we do shit that we're not even aware that we're doing this. And then all it does, it just creates this massive amount of guilt and shame. And what happens in this process, in this example that you've just given, your partner, your wife, the person that you see the most in your life, that you spend most of your time with, actually interrupts that pattern and says, we're going to stop this here. And you're going to stack this, right? So if you don't know about stacking, it's a process of asking yourself a number of questions. It's about a 10 to 20-minute process that gives you a totally new perspective. You want to learn about what the stack it is, you can buy the Warrior Book at warriorbook.com, and you can, just Google it. And nowadays it's just all over the place. It's not a big fucking deal. It's
right.
It's not a big fucking secret. It's something the Warrior has put in place, and it's useless if you don't use it.
Well, and the thing is, like, before, if you take any home or any human being, large unexplained negative emotion, so just whatever it is, like maybe your dad died, or maybe like some negative shit happened. Maybe your parents divorced. Big, unexplained negative emotion. Human beings, we tend to own it. It's our fault.
Yes.
So before I walk in, I'm fucking crazy. I mean, literally just like a toddler. Like, that's the best possible way to describe it. Now the whole house sees that there's this big negative with Dad. What does my wife do before this? Like, if we go back a year before.
Yes.
She said she owns it. Oh, shit, I should have had dinner ready. I should have done this. I should have called him. Somehow she believes that despite the fact that I'm just a raging lunatic, that it was her fault.
Or if it's another type of wife, she would fire back. Right. With like burning fire and burn you the fuck down, like,
because that's the wife who thinks she has to fix it.
Yeah, get the fuck out of there and just go eat out or whatever, right?
Yeah,
there are those scenarios.
So it's like either they own it and they think it was their fault, or they think they have to fix it.
Either way, they own it.
Right.
Exactly. They become the general, the person that takes the order.
And I promise you, like, as a man, if you're listening to this is what happens to your kids when you come home and rage. Yes. They own it. They think, what did I do? Or I need to fix it. So it's either what did I do to make Dad mad, or I need to make Dad happy.
It's either or. Yeah. Dude, it's either or.
And what I'm seeing, having my wife live the Warriors way all in, is that conversation is now shifting where she has a choice inside of it, and she's able to tell me, hey, this is your shit. Now, there's other scenarios, like just this happened this Friday night. We had a big fight, and it was really her shit. Like, she shut down, and I was like, hey, cool, you want to shut down, that's fine, but I'm not playing this game.
Sure.
And she's come back to me now just yesterday. She's like, hey, I stacked this, and my stack action was to come and tell you that I realized that me shutting down fucked up that whole situation, and we had no way to win.
So what I'm hearing, the top 3 points is the following. More connection through sex, like more intimacy.
Yeah, for sure.
Second, which is the biggest one of all, shift from nag to desire and clear communication on what they want. And third one is a better exchange at home. A better exchange at home in terms of thoughts, ideas, and triggers. But overall, if you want to label all of this, like all 3 of them, and it's really an enhanced communication system.
So that is the so think about what Warrior does. Like, I mean, think about us. We've coached, I don't know how many Warrior weeks together, like 8, 10, whatever the fuck. Yes. We've been coaching together for years. Like, you were born in Iran, a Muslim who didn't speak English.
Yes.
I was born in South Louisiana, a white dude Christian who only spoke English.
Yes.
We shouldn't even like each other.
Correct.
But through the Warriors way, we learn to respect all the containers about you and me, and I hold you accountable to who you are, and you hold me accountable to who I am.
True.
So that works well for us as trainers. But think about what's the biggest problem in marriage is you take 2 traditions and now you have to make one out of those 2 traditions. What Warrior has done is given us a common language. So even when we disagree, which of course we still fucking disagree, we know we're disagreeing instead of spending weeks or months or years miscommunicating, so we don't even realize we disagree. We're using the same word the wrong way. Yeah. By having us both live the Warriors way, when I say, hey, that triggered, you're triggered by that, you need to go stack it, she knows exactly what that means, and so do I. So even if she's like, fuck you, I'm not stacking it, we've still at least communicated.
Yes.
I've told her what I think, she's understood me, and she's told me, fuck you back. Okay, fine. That is way beyond most couples, and even what I had with my wife before, where we were talking and we were saying the same words, but they had different definitions.
Sure.
So ultimately, we weren't communicating.
And so it is truly ultimately what Warrior Woman has done in complementary to what Warrior has been is that there's this massive enhanced communication system in place, like what we described. Better connection through sex, better distinction in what you want, and you know, the Morse code that doesn't fucking serve any guy. We clearly don't want anyone fucking nag. Like, I'm gonna say it again because I know everybody loves to hear me say this shit. Like, most men don't want to hear their wives nag. Like, I love my wife to death, but I don't want to hear her nag, man. And I tell her that.
But why does she nag is she doesn't know how to just say what she wants.
Correct.
So she does these other little things.
These other languages, right? So that, and the third one was the fact that there is this healthy exchange that takes place at home when chaos is lived either way, on your wife's, on your side, and then there's way to interrupt chaos before it hits panic. So all that comes down to this enhanced communication, and to find out more details about this, we got an event coming up soon in October, I believe 6, 7, 8, or 9, or 8 or 9 and 10. It's called Warrior Wealth Woman. That's coming up, and you can look that up on Warrior Wealth Woman. And if your wife want to be part of this, or if you want to refer that, like, you just Google that and forward that information to her. Obviously, Be the Man, the book, and as well as Warrior Book and Warrior Week, all the tools of the Warrior's Way. You can find all that at the King's Kid Challenge, which is the initiator of all this conversations. Those are some references I'm giving you here in case that you're new to the podcast and you want to have some additional referrals to see what's going on. And if you want to hear more about this podcast itself, you can go to warriorweeknow.com. There's over 40 of these podcasts, and there are some podcasts that will take you to places that are very common to you, and we call the pit, and that's what it is, the parables from the pit. On this episode, we decided to get some data from the other side, the other world. But I'm gonna bring this to a conclusion by one fucking statement, because at the end of the day, this is fucking Warrior, and this is a man's program, right? Not to say that that doesn't even place, but that's where Warrior is, and that's what we do. So inside of that, here's what Warrior does for women, right? Warrior teaches men to treat their woman as queens. Clearly, we've done that, right? Clearly, that's a program. Now we need Warrior Woman to teach the woman to treat their man like fucking king.
Yeah, and the thing we've been...
And it doesn't mean that they have to fucking, like, clean their feet and put their socks. And we're like, literally, we're talking about queen and king relationship in a kingdom, not in a fucking democracy or any shit like that.
Co-rulers.
Co-rulers, man.
Which has always been the standard in human history until the Industrial Revolution, when Dad went to work and now he made all the money and it fucked shit up.
Correct.
But you go back to Middle Ages, Mom and Dad ran the home together.
Yes.
Mom did the maintenance of the back end shit. Dad did the cool traveling, make the deal shit. But the bottom line was a household was a production unit run by Mom and Dad.
Right. There was a separation that took place, which said if you're a man, you take this, and if you're a woman, you take that.
And if a woman, like if a spouse died, whether it was a man or a woman, the average remarriage happened in 2 weeks. Because the house couldn't run.
Correct.
Okay. It was like a job title. Like Mom and Dad were way beyond just people who loved you. They had functions in the home. They made things work. The economy of the whole town ran on houses that produced. And if Mom died, someone had to fill that role, or we stopped producing.
And it all comes down to, as men, as alpha that we want to be, and we all fucking are. We just have to remind ourselves that we do come from women. Like, dude, there is nothing that you can do to fucking undo that. Your fucking ego is not going to override that. The universe has already created the blueprint of this to happen. What man did is man started fucking around with the blueprint and created the separation even between man and a woman, because it's easy. It's the easiest separation that you can create because it's a different sex. It's a different entity. So it's the easiest separation that we can do. Because once we're done with that, then we go to other form of separation. Your color, you're black, you're Chinese, you're Arab, you're blonde, your blue eyes, whatever. Because what? Once again, it's easy. Then we go to the third level of separation. Your religious belief, your culture, this and that. And then we keep going and keep going, but we attack the easy separation. The easiest is man and woman.
Yeah, and it's easy to separate, but then what is the biggest drive inside of a man? To connect the man and woman.
Isn't that fucking crazy?
To come right back together. This is where we kind of missed the boat, like not missed the boat like as an organization, just like as men. We go and we handle our pit. We go into the pit and we handle the shit there. Well, guess what? Your wife is co-creating that pit with you. She lives in that pit with you.
For sure.
And even if you come out, like how fucked up is it if you come out and you just leave her there?
Yeah.
And be like, well, figure it out, bitch.
Yeah.
I'm out. And that's what we've done. That's what I did.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not blaming anyone. That's what I did. I was like, hey, I can't live like that anymore.
Yeah.
Well, how the fuck is she supposed to know how to get out if we don't provide that?
The co-creation has been part of the game. The co-creation has been part of the game, and because of their tolerance, what has happened to most men is that they also shut down. Because the woman has tolerated this pit for so long that she's now trained on this pit. She's used only to a fucking pit. She does not believe anything outside of the pit. Anything outside of the pit seems to be a fucking fantasy because it never comes to fruition. Mm-hmm. So as a result of it, she controls the pit.
Yep.
And the minute you want to go out, she pull you back in. Why? Because you've trained her to control the fucking pit. I mean, this is above and beyond psychology. This is just the reality of what we're seeing with the line of work that we do, with business married men coming into the game and figuring the why, the why there are, dysfunctional in their marriage and as a father, as a husband, not because they're bad or they're lying or they're cheating or they're stealing. Not that. It's because they truly don't believe that the best version yet is in play. But the reality that you and I are discussing is that your best version as a married man, as a family man, it is directly proportional to the best version of your wife. Or else it is truly not your best version. It's a version.
By this, like it has to be.
It has to.
Imagine as a man, like we I know how to be a fully empowered man who produces. Imagine if your wife understood what that really meant. And that's where we kind of miss the boat, I think, sometimes, too, is like, well, all right, I'm in power, I'm producing, and then we end up in these weird-ass fights at home.
Yep.
Well, why aren't you doing this or why aren't you doing that? Because they don't understand.
True.
Why don't we just teach them, hey, check this out?
That's our mission anyway, as leaders.
And you're in our wife, once they see it, they love it. Like, my wife had... Getting the daily notes, right? So that's one thing in Warrior, right? We do the daily deposits, and with our spouse and with our children, every day we're making deposits. And having those deposits come back to me has been like this amazing experience. Not that I need a note every day to know my wife loves me, but it's been cool to see what she notices.
Yes.
Like the shit she notices about me that I don't even see.
Yes.
Hey, I loved how you handled, Liam yesterday.
Yes.
Thank you. And it's like, oh, cool. Okay, maybe I'm not such a fuck up as a dad. Maybe I can do all of this. It's been great.
So anyway, thanks for being on the show. Thanks for bringing some insight from the other side of this equation. Here's a message from me and most men. I would say fuck it, all men on this side that you can bring on the other side. It's like, hey man, the Warriors Way has always been about teaching you to treat your woman as a queen. The Warriors Way inside of the woman should be, hey, we're going to teach you how to treat your husband as a king. And whether that means rising, collision, whatever the fuck that is, enhanced communication, that's the match that needs to happen. Because if I'm treating my woman like a queen, and if I don't get treated like a fucking king, it's not going to fucking work. Guarantee.
And guess what else is fucking you right now? And there's a lot of men who are listening to this who live the Warriors Way, and they're treating their woman like a queen, but that woman doesn't believe she is a queen. And because of that unworthiness, she doesn't accept
match
the love. So the first thing we teach is how to accept the love as a queen. And women are elite at treating men like kings when they feel like queens. But there's this big layer of unworthiness.
There's this huge story that what I'm receiving, I don't believe it, right? So like you can call me a queen, but I can call myself a queen. Heck, it's fucked up. I don't even believe it.
Yeah.
So exactly. Good. Okay, well, hey, we had some insight from the other side of the world. I hope that you've taken some notes. And if you haven't, well, guess what you can do? You can go back and re-listen to this audio. And if you want to hear more of this podcast, you can find us at warriorweeknow.com. Gentlemen, thanks for having us, and have yourself a fantastic day.